Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's been more than a minute. I said in my last video that I don't go to book sales anymore too much. First, let me tell you that in where I live is a town called Makaha, and we don't have any bookstores in this whole town. And the nearest used bookstore, is like 30 miles away. But we do have an annual Friends of the Library book sale every year. And it's in Honolulu, which is, again, 30 miles away. But I try to go every year. Last year, I have to say, was a little more successful in getting treasures than this year. But I think I did pretty well. I came back with a lot of chronic pain afterwards, but I think it was all worth it. So I'm going to not take a lot of time with the books, but all of these books spoke to me in some way and made me want to pick them up. And some of them, again, were talking to me by their covers, but not only by their covers. So let's get started. The first book I want to talk about, I've never read before, and it's an Inspector de Silva mystery, Trouble in Nuala. And it's about Ceylon. And I just love the elephants. I got a thing about parrots and elephants lately. So when I saw the elephants, I said, let me see what it's about first. Because like I said in my last video, I don't just pick a book because of the cover. It has to have something. And boy, did it have something that spoke to me. So we're talking about a mystery, but Inspector Shante de Silva moves with his English wife, Jane, to a new post in the sleepy hill town of Nuala. He anticipates a more restful life than police work in the big city entails. I'm not going to go into what happens, but we know something is going to happen. And it says and this is what made me pick it up, set on the exotic island of Ceylon in the 1930s, Trouble in Nuala is an entertaining and relaxing mystery spiced with humor and a colorful cast of characters. Now, that's a new way of saying cozy mystery, relaxing. I like that. And I was always really interested in the island of Ceylon, which it was called before. And this is by Harriet Steel, Steel, and I've never heard of her before. And this was written in, 2016. So it's a pretty new one and set in the 30s. And I better go faster than I've been going. Okay, the next book, we're going to go to a different genre. I thought I'd mix it up. And this is a book that I picked up because of booktube. And I don't know anything about this author, Alice Hoffman. The reason I picked this one up was because it was from Radford High School library. I don't know why, but I knew the author from booktube, that she's a very prolific author. And in case anyone didn't know, Radford High School is where Bette Midler went. Just a little extra little tidbit. But it said absolutely riveting and confirms her place as one of the finest writers of her generation. And it's called Seventh Heaven. And I think I'm going to keep that Radford sticker. I think I like it. So Nora Silk doesn't fit in on Hemlock Street. Now, hemlock is a poison, so I love it already. Where every house looks the same. She's divorced. She wears a charm bracelet and high heels and red Toreador pants. That sounds like a little bit like me when I was divorced, living in a house that looked like everyone else's. I didn't read this part, but maybe I wouldn't have picked it up. And the way she raises her kids is a scandal. Well, I don't know about that, but so it says it's part American graffiti, part early Updike. So sounds interesting. I thought it was short stories, but it looks like it's a novel. So Have you read Seventh Heaven? Let me know. Is it going to be good? It's good enough for the high school students in Radford, so why not? The next book I'm going to talk about, not in order, and I went to a different section. So I went to the literary section, I went to the mystery section, and then I went to religious section, and a little bit of self-help, nonfiction travel. And this one I got, it's called Yiddish Wisdom, Yiddish Choma. And it says it's illustrated by Kristina Swarner. So I didn't really look at it. I thought, yeah, Yiddish Wisdom sounds good. But I don't see an author. It just says illustrated. That's kind of different. It says all the color, vibrancy, and humor of Yiddish is captured in this timeless treasury of over 100 folk sayings in both English and Yiddish. From the profound, a mewing cat can't catch mice. And I'm not going to try to do it in Yiddish right now. If you're going to do something wrong, enjoy it. I think I'm going to like this because my mother, who was Jewish, had a lot of Yiddish sayings. So it doesn't have, just has an illustrator. So maybe the illustrator is the writer, or she just copied them, or just found them. So I'm looking forward to this one, and this one is a good one to read, just to pick up every day, and to read it, and to practice my Yiddish, which is almost non-existent, but I can understand a little. The next book, well, I had to get this, Hidden Parks of Paris. I don't know if you noticed my French silk scarf, ooh la la. I'm getting ready for a trip to Paris. Hopefully, if my old bones will be able to handle it. But yeah, I'm supposed to go to Paris and not Amsterdam, Haarlem and Bruges, Belgium, or Bruges in Flemish, I think. But I don't know. I was reading a couple of books set in France, and they all said that Paris doesn't have many parks or green spaces compared to maybe other parts of Paris or other cities. So this is by Gregory Ross, and I thought that it would be fun to find some parks while I'm in Paris for a week, and maybe I'll be able to come back and tell you about some of them. So just opening up to a random chapter, this says Square des Arènes de Lutèce. And this gladiatorial spectacle, or the gladiatorial, boy, I shall pick the right page to read from, are long gone. In the 1st century AD, when battles were waged between man and beast, this Roman arena must have been vibrating with the energy of the 17,000 spectators that gathered here to be entertained. Boy, I didn't know any of this, so that sounds good. Now, where is it? It has a GPS, so that's good. And it's Metro Jusio, lines 7 and 10. So I'll show you a picture of it. I know I've not been there, but has anyone been there? I did hear when I was in different parts of France, Avignon last year, that France has more complete old structures than even Italy does. So that was interesting, because you think of the Colosseum and you think of Rome's all their old places, and yet Paris has kept them more, not Paris, but France itself has kept them more intact. So that's interesting little tidbit also. So I'm looking forward to reading that. So then we get to an author, it's a mystery. This is not a mystery, but he writes mysteries. It's Alexander McCall Smith, and he's written the #1 a ladies' detective agency that was set in Botswana. And I have to say that I really couldn't get into that mystery, but I know a lot of mystery readers on BookTube really like him. So this one is more of it started out as, he wrote it as an article for the Scotsman, like a magazine article. And it says, from the beloved author of the #1 detective agency, it's 44 Scotland Street, home to some of Edinburgh's most colorful characters. There's Pat, a 20-year-old who has recently moved into a flat with Bruce, athletic young man with a keen awareness of his own appearance. The neighbor, Domenica, is an eccentric and insightful widow. In the flat below are Irene and her appealing son, Bertie, who is the victim of his mother's desire for him to learn the saxophone and Italian. This sounds delightful, actually, so I'm really looking forward to seeing all of these eccentric characters. And it doesn't say anything that's a mystery, but it does say something about an encounter with a famous Scottish crime writer. So I guess there's little hints of mystery and crime in it, but it sounds like a novel. So I'm looking forward to reading that. And another one that I picked up by him is Tea Time for the Traditionally Built. And this is now an HBO, or was, original series. So I don't have HBO, so I don't know. But it says it's a national bestseller, and it has books in it. And I have a little surprise when I opened it. It says chapters 10. First it said 15, 12, and it says chapter 10. So is this like a secret? I'm not going to tell you right now, but I definitely am going to look at chapter 10. So this is the latest installment in the endlessly entertaining series. Okay, so this is not the news. This is the #1 ladies detective agency. I was a little bit confused because it says Tea Time for the Traditionally Built. So this one is the Botswana one series. So I think I'm going to like this, because not only because of this red secret little sign that is letting me know that chapter 10 might be interesting. I hope it's not missing. It doesn't look like it is. So what is it about? The first is the potential demise of an old friend, her tiny white van. In this latest installment of the endlessly entertaining Precious Ram Atsui faces problems both personal and professional. So let me see where Tea Time comes in, because that's what I'm really interested in. And if you watch the HBO series, please let me know what it's about. Well, you know what it's about, but tell me if it's good. Okay, now this is one of my treasures that I picked up. I don't know if you know Faye Kellerman, but she's a mystery writer and the wife in real life of Jonathan Kellerman, who was a very prolific mystery writer from the 80s on that I used to really love. Now his mysteries are a little dated, and I talked about them. But this one, The Garden of Eden and Other Criminal Delights. And it doesn't seem like it's all mysteries, because it says, The Garden of Eden and Other Criminal Delights. Among the first-rate short stories in this collection, the brand new Garden of Eden, and I tell you, I read it, and it was good. An open house feature the famous sleuthing duo Peter Decker and Rena Lazarus. And Bullseye introduced Cindy Decker in the crime fiction world, and Mr. Barton's head case appears here for the very first time in English. So I have no idea what language it was in. In addition, 2 rare personal essays allow readers glimpses into Kellerman's private life, revealing her true grit in small miracles and childhood memories of working in her father's deli in the exquisite summer of my womanhood. Oh, yes, I'm looking forward to this. And this is going to be something that's going to stay on my shelf. I'm pretty sure of that, even if it's not a 5-star read, because I really love that duo, writing duo, husband and wife. Now, this is another treasure. Fodor's Guide to the Da Vinci Code, on the trail of the best-selling novel. And it's edited by Jennifer Paull and Christopher Calwell. And now this was on booktube, and I've seen it on booktube. And there's a lot of beautiful photos as well. I mean, just for this photo alone, which is probably a painting, could be in the Louvre or in another of the book's settings. Now, I did read the Da Vinci Code, and I did love it. It's not a book that I would typically read of that type of mystery, but I loved it. I read it on an airplane. I think I said this before, and it was a 10-hour flight. Everything is like 10 hours almost from Hawaii. So I read the whole Da Vinci Code all at once, and I was mesmerized. Now, of course, on the cover is the pyramid that's in front of the Louvre. And this is, of course, how can we forget? The Mona Lisa was just described to me as as a painting that is overrated. But I was lucky enough to be in front of the painting and really see the intricacies of the painting. I didn't have to wait behind. There's a big railing, and I didn't have to wait behind the railing because at that time I was using a wheelchair. So I was able to get really close. One of the unexpected perks of having osteoarthritis and not being able to walk more than 2 miles at a time. And you can walk like 5 miles in the Louvre. What does it say about it? If you're among the millions of readers who have been fascinated by the Da Vinci Code and are eager to know more about the world of this novel, this is the book for you. Following the path of Robert Langdon and Sophie Neville, who are the protagonists, will take you deeper into the mystery by discussing the locations, people, historic events, and symbols involved in the story. With photos, maps, and fun expert essays, Fodor's Guide to the Da Vinci Code will amplify your experience of the novel. And it's a thrilling read in its own right. And here is Mona Lisa. This sounds like it's going to be a thrill read. And it's so new. And that's what I wanted to see. When was it written? Because it looks brand new. And I've heard it pretty recently on booktube. And it's not saying, this is what I find about travel books. They don't like to say when they're written, because travel books do become kind of obsolete, and we can just look things up on the internet. But I still like it. Okay, I think I found 2006, and it's on the back cover, so it was on the back page. But still, I want to know about this book. I heard about it on booktube. I better go faster. This is one of my treasures for sure, because everyone was saying what a beautiful cover it was. And of course, like I said, I didn't listen to them until I read it, and then I looked at the cover. But it's called Voice of the Violin, an Inspector Montalbano mystery. And this is taking place in Sicily. So it looks brand new, but it wasn't written like last year or anything like that. I looked at because everyone's saying that it looked brand new and that it was in brand new condition. So I had a look at what was it about. Well, they talk about hailing from the land of Umberto Eco and La Cosa Nostra. So the series of Sicilian police procedurals offers quirky characters, crisp dialogue, bright storytelling, and Salvo Montalbano, one of the most intriguing protagonists in detective fiction. So that sounds good. But I had to look at what this was about. And it says, because I haven't read this series, In this latest novel, Mental. Now, the reason I'm reading so slow is because one thing I dislike in books is when the font is hard to read because it's either a different color or, in this case, it's a white font written in a nice color, in a nice book flap though, but still it's hard to read. So in his latest novel, Montalbano's gruesome discovery of a lovely naked young woman suffocated in her bed immediately sets him on a search for her killer. So that sounded pretty gruesome, but to be honest, up my alley. So I said, this is by Andrea Camilleri, and I think it was translated. Let's see if this is translated. She's the author of The Snack Thief and The Terracotta Dog. So if you've read any of those books, let me know. Yes, it's translated by Stefan Sartarelli. So I'm looking forward to this. I really am. But the next book, okay, I have to say, if there's one book that is my find of the library sale, this is it. And it's called Summer by Edith Wharton. And when I saw this, I said, I have to get it because I read The Age of Innocence this past year. And I really liked it, but I wanted to read more of her to see what else she's written. And this is the brilliant evocation of a season in the life of a restless small-town girl, is one of only 2 country novels by Edith Wharton, who is best known for her insightful portrayals of urban high society in both America and Europe. So 18-year-old Charity Royal feels trapped in her existence in the decaying towns of North Dormer, living alone in the stifling company of a much older guardian under the shadow of a mysterious personal past. And I won't go into that except to say Wharton's exquisitely turned prose is as fresh as ever as she achieves the subtle characterization and unflinching depiction of social politics that are her trademark. However, this dark romance is not what it seems. It only reveals itself fully in a conclusion as striking and inevitable that makes us rethink our definitions of destiny and the places we call home. And it caused a sensation because of its shimmering eroticism. So, yeah, that sounds really different. This was written, well, this edition by Barnes & Noble was 1995. And I'm sure that wasn't the, oh, this was 1916. The year my mother was born, actually. She wrote Summer. She was living in Paris, a city she considered a refuge from the provincialism of New York City. Sort of how I feel about Paris and Hawaii. Really, it is sort of that way. And I was also born in New York, as she was. I think she was born in New York. She writes about New York society. I was born in low society, but that's okay. And this is a Barnes & Noble Classics. And I really like it. It's a shiny cover, but it's really, I'm looking forward to this. This is kind of my find. It's mine. It's all mine. I don't have to bring it back to the library if the library has it. I don't know why they gave it away for $2, but it's mine now. The next book I want to talk about, and I'm going to go through these next 3 books pretty fast because they're 3 mysteries. One is Martha Grimes, a Richard Drury novel, The Anodyne Necklace, and I think I read it before, but it said a bird-watching spinster and a penny-pinching peer may give Littlebourne its eccentric reputation. That brought me in, and I hope to read all the ones that I have on my shelf before I read this one. The next one, whoops, that goes my pile. I'll pick that up later. They had a whole bunch of Earle Stanley Gardner books. And this one is The Case of the Haunted Husband and The Case of the Deadly Toy. And they weren't any special covers. They had better covers than this. but I didn't think I read them. And during the 70s, I read them all. And yeah, so I said, why not? And, you know, they were more expensive than the other mysteries. Besides, you know, I went with a friend, and she found dual finger massager for me at the sale. I think she found it at the sale, and she gifted this to me. And yeah, my hands need some dual restoring. So this is from the yoga company. I don't know if any of you use their yoga mats, but I have a yoga mat from them. So it's fun going to a book sale with a friend. So I really recommend it. Because she was able also, on my second day, when I got a little tired, she was able to pick up some books from the bottom for me. Because I really was in a lot of pain after that trek to the library. And as you see by the pictures that I'm going to put in, there was a lot of stretching involved, standing, stretching, and walking. And not something that I do all the time. I mostly walk straight lines. I just don't stand around. But anyway, enough of my elderly problems of the elderly. I hope you enjoyed this book haul. It really, really meant a lot to me to be able to go to this book sale, because I didn't think that I was going to be able to go this year. So I hope that you liked some of these books. Let me know in the comments. I'm going again on Sunday if I'm still in one piece. So say a good thought for me that I can go on Sunday, because everything is 50 cents and we like that. So I only spent like $20 for both days, and that's doable. And I have other books that I'm reading first before this, but I'm excited about my book haul. So if you like this video, please do me a favor and like. It really would help me out with the darn algorithm. So thank you so much, my friends, for watching and staying to the end. And I'll see you again, hopefully sooner than later, in my next video. So until we meet then, shaka and aloha.